Good morning, friends. How are you today? Welcome, welcome. I pray you are having a good day on this Tuesday. I hope that the holiday weekend treated you well and that you got some richness in it, got some relaxation, a little time with the barbecue maybe, but also had some time and maybe some people that you love, but also had the chance to lift up in memorial those who have given great service to the nation in the last full measure of their devotion. I was throughout the city this weekend with different memorial and opportunities for bringing prayer, and it was really quite an honor to be able to be with uh, different families and different groups as they memorialized those whom they loved. Hey, good morning, John. Good morning, Irene. Hello, Karen. Good morning to you. Good to see you. All right, Yvette. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Boy, the allergies have me going. No matter how much Flonase I seem to get going, I've dropped an octave here. I'm down in you know Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings country, so down in Johnny Cash country here, and with my voice. So yeah, so if I sound a little rough, that's what it is. Um, it's funny that this year seems to have been worse than many, but so. Good morning, Derek, my boy. Glad you're here. Sharon Landry. So glad you're here, Sharon. Great to see you. All right, let's get going this morning. Welcome on this day, welcome on this hour, welcome on this moment that we might gather at 11:11, that we might have this moment together to gather in our little digital spaces when I can see your little digital faces and we get the chance to just take a moment out, to just take a breath from all of the things that are pressing in us, from all the stuff that we have to do, from all of the tasks of our days. We get to just spend a moment together in this digital space. And so whether you're here for the first time, whether you're a frequent flyer and you've got your little card out to get punched today, or whether you are hearing this at some other time in some other place, welcome. Know that prayers are said for you today, and that goodness and grace is upon you. I want to go to one of the probably the most, I don't know. There's so many famous stories from the Old Testament, but there are certain ones that are foundational, and I think this is one of the foundational stories of the Old Testament because it's the place where Israel gets its name. And so this is the story of Jacob, who is basically kind of pulled a slick one on his brother, and his brother is rightfully angry with him, having stolen the birthright, and he's kind of fled off to his uncle's country, and he made something of himself there. He now has some property and some wives, but he's coming back to try and be reunited with his brother. And in this process of seeking to be reunited from a brother that's pretty angry at him, Esau is pretty cross with him, and he's getting ready to go to have this meeting, but he sends a lot of gifts first. He sends a lot of the wealth that he's acquired. He kind of sends it forward first to say, hey, I have some gifts for you, and so it's really just him and his little tiny retinue of people that are traveling with him, his wives and some of his servants, and then that are about to cross the River Jordan and head back into to be with him, to be with Esau and see what the reckoning comes. And so they crossed the Jabbok, they crossed the brook, and so we pick up the story here. He says, during the night he got up with his 2 wives and his 2 maidservants and 11 little children and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. He got them safely across the brook along with all of his possessions. But Jacob, staying behind by himself, a man wrestled with him until daybreak. And when the man saw that he couldn't get the best of Jacob as they wrestled, he deliberately threw Jacob's hip out of joint. The man said, "Let me go, it's daybreak." And Jacob said, "I'm not letting you go until you bless me." And the man said, "What is your name?" And he answered, "Jacob." The man said, "But no longer. Your name is no longer Jacob. From now on, it's Israel," which means God wrestler. "You've wrestled with God, and you've come through." And Jacob asked, "What's your name?" And the man said, "Why do you want to know my name?" And then right then and there, he blessed him. And Jacob named the place Peniel, God's face, because I saw God face to face and lived to tell the story. And the sun came up as he left Peniel, limping because of his hip. I wanted to share this with you today. There's so much we can just go on and on. It's so good. It's so rich. But this moment of reconciliation that Jacob is going for, this moment of recommitting back into life. See, Jacob's been on the lam, and he's kind of recommitting into life. He's bringing his game back to the center of his life, rather than kind of letting it be off to the edge or kind of be in amateur status. He is going to kind of whatever way he kind of got the birthright, he's going to live into this birthright that he's been given. And so he's stepping into it. He's crossing the river. And this man, which is really God, this angel, which begins to wrestle with him through the night. Now, I don't think anybody who's been alive on this planet any length of time is unacquainted with night wrestling. We know what it is to wrestle in our days, and what we discover in our wrestling, I think, is really what we discover is our woundedness. Because so he wrestles with the angel, and he has this thing, and he says, "I'm not going to let you go until you bless me." But the blessing comes with a limp. The blessing comes with a wound. You don't get the blessing without the wound. There's this, and I think this is the heart of what it is for us to love into this world in a genuine way. We want to. I think the Beatles aren't wrong when they say all you need is love. But what they are doing, but what's incomplete about that is about what that ends up meaning, is that when we end up committing ourselves to things, there are inherent moments when the world is going to break our hearts. There are inherent moments when we are going to fail. There are always moments where we are going to end up night wrestling, where we're going to end up wrestling with wondering, what are we doing here? How are we doing? What's going on? This doesn't make any sense, Lord. Why am I, that we find ourselves not only disoriented, but it's those moments that are right at the edge. Those are the moments that we're right at the edge of of heading back to the center of our being. You see, because here's the thing. We think what we're wrestling with is often our demons, right? We use that as a phrase, and I talked about this before, so this isn't new. But I really wanted to revisit it today because I feel like everybody I meet seems to be in the middle of a wrestling match. Everybody seems to be, and we're not quite sure. We're not even sure what we're wrestling. Whether it's the level of anxiety in our society and in our cultures, whether it's the isolation that we seem to continue to feel from each other, and the separation, whether it's the different divisions, however it's playing itself out, there's just this way in which we're all like in a wrestling match, but it's kind of a night match because we just can't even see fully the opponent we're wrestling against, and we're kind of given this line. What we think we must be doing is we must be wrestling with our demons, because that Clearly, it's our demons that would want us to fail, right? It's clearly our demons that would want to take away all of our goodness, that would want to see us humiliated, that would want to defeat us, that would want to break us down, that would want to wound us and see us broken. Clearly, that's all the work of the demons, right? But I don't think that's it. Clearly there are principalities to fight against. Don't get me wrong. We shouldn't give in to those. With these afflictions of whether we eat too much, we drink too much, we're filled with rage, we're filled with shame, we're filled with inability to forgive, we're filled with our struggles, we're filled with our selfishness, whatever thing that seems to find its way into us. I'm not suggesting those are innocuous things. But what the reality is those are not the thing. Those are the weeds getting in the way of the thing. Those are the twisting and the bending and the contorting and the confounding of the things that really are of the true angelic selves into which we are being called. The demons and the demons of the world are there to afflict us, but they afflict us in a twisted way, to kind of off-ramp our angelic selves. But what we truly wrestle with is what we to truly subdue and to take its blessing is actually our God-given angelic highest self. That is the part that means us moving away from old patterns, of moving away from old relationships, moving away from the exilic life of Jacob and the margins, and moving to the very center of our being, to take up our God-given and God-appointed role in this world that only we can take up. And that kind of invitation, that it leaves us incredibly vulnerable. It's terrifyingly vulnerable, because there's nothing we can hide behind. There's no brownie we can throw on top of it. There's no little shame moment we can throw on top of it. There's no identity outside of ourselves that we can put on, because our name changes. Our name changes from sneaky foot. Like, this is one way to translate Jacob, is kind of sneaky foot or sneaky heel. Like, that he's the guy that like sneaks around the edges. Like, he's the guy he's sneaky, like he's the way that contorts and confounds the center of things, the beauty of things, like the place in which we're called to inhabit. Like, that's where Jacob starts. And Jacob takes up the name, what? God fighter, God wrestler. What's the number one task of a wrestler? What's another name for a wrestler? Is a grappler. To actually grab on to the divine and hold on to it with all of your might. To take up, to pin it to the ground, to hold it down and to say, here is my divine self. Here is my divine being. Here is the place I will stand, and I can do no other, as the great Martin Luther declared. That this is the place, this is who and what blessing I am meant to bring into the world, and nothing will take that from me or dissuade that of me. No amount of weeds, no amount of distractions, no amount of principalities. Those aren't the things. Those aren't the things we wrestle. The great Marianne Williamson puts it this way. I've read this before, but it's so worth repeating. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, or gorgeous, or talented, or fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking, that other people will not feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us. It is in every one of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give permission to others to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. The invitation to be a God fighter is really the invitation to be walking wounded, because the limp comes before the name. It means that we have to accumulate all of the griefs of our life, all of the pains of our being, all of the ways in which we've been wounded, we've been hurt, we've been betrayed, we've been misled, we've been wandered, and we must place them before us, and we must wear them and feel their hurt even with every step. There's no even promise that that gets removed over time. But there is the promise that it becomes the great path and the great place that onto the way to the beauty of whom and what we were created at the center of our being. That's what gets us over the Jabbok. That's what gets us over the brook. That's what gets us back to the center. That's what reunites the two brothers in reconciliation of love once again. That's what makes us whole. Don't be afraid to walk wounded. Don't be afraid to know that you have griefs that you might have to walk out. Don't be afraid that you have pains that you're going to feel. Don't be afraid. Know that those were all attempts to bring into the world great and beautiful love, even though they failed, even though they were imperfect, even though you may feel like you had nothing to do with them and they were just inflicted upon you. It doesn't matter. It's our desire to kind of be a sneaky foot and kind of stay around the edges and not have to contend, not have to deal. Play our little shell games with the things with the reality of our being. That is not our true name. It's not who we are. And the distractions of the principalities, the distractions of the demons, even though they'll destroy the world if we let them, but they'll do it in a way that like ivy choking out a beautiful tree, that they're not gonna take it over. They're just gonna steal all the resources from us and the beautifulness of its being. Our invitation is in the fullness of our angelic selves, is this invitation to wrestle not with our demons, not to get tangled up in the ivy once again, but simply to cut it away and let the great and beautiful creature, the great and beautiful tree, the great and beautiful creation that you were meant to be, to shine, even though it might walk with a limp. It might that it inherently, the attempt to do this will bring with us the confrontation with all of our pain, and the confrontation with all of our difficulty, and with the confrontation with the who do you think you are of your life. But friends, the great and beautiful reality is that that you are meant to be whole before God. Jacob and Esau together. You are meant to be one at the center of being. You are meant to be powerful and beautiful and courageous. And you are meant to stand for bold and incredible things and to declare truths into the world that are beyond even your own capability, but are the very capabilities of the saints and of God himself. Why? Because you are a God wrestler. You are a grappler with the divine. And when you grab hold, when you hold it dear, and no matter what hip might come out of joint, and no matter how you might limp, you walk the road to the center of your being and the center of creation, and truly to your heavenly home. All right, friends, that's my hope for you today. We just as by way of housekeeping, we'll have one more 11:11 tomorrow, and then I'm on vacation for a week, and then we'll be back the next Thursday. So you'll have we will have an 11:11 next week. It'll just be on Thursday, but we'll have a few days away. I'm gonna go take a knee and spend a little time in Maine and try and recharge a little bit so that we can come on back. And so tomorrow will be our last for a little while. So peace and grace to you all. And we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.